the stretch we go for Big Ten men's gymnastics as we're delighted to welcome you to historic Rec Hall on the campus of Penn State for number 5 Ohio State, 2-1 against your host, number 6 Penn State at 1-2. Take a look at the standings. Michigan and Nebraska are battling it out right now. If Michigan wins, they'll be the regular season champs. If they slip up, Ohio State could earn a share of the Big Ten title. And hello, everybody. With Brandon Burns, I'm Dean Linke. The standings kind of tell the story, but also with both teams at 5 and 6, this is a big meet as they move forward.
Well, there's a lot on the line today, but even more importantly, we're only 2 weeks away from the Big Ten championships. This is their last opportunity to dial in their gymnastics. I expect some upgraded routines, maybe some experimental lineups. It's going to be fun.
All right, let's go to work and see who you have your eye on, Brandon Burns.
Well, this Penn State team has been plagued with injuries this year, but senior leadership is stepping up, namely Landon Simpson, someone we'll see on 4 events today, but especially look for him on the parallel bars, where he's ranked 7th in the nation with a season high of 13.9. His teammate, Kasper Garnjarek, is also a heavy hitter on multiple events, but perhaps most importantly on pommel horse, where he has a season high of 13.7. Meanwhile, this Ohio State team is coming off of a season-high team score after last week's close loss to Michigan, and you can look for David Ramirez to contribute on 3 events. He's ranked 9th in the country on parallel bars and is more than capable of challenging Landon Simpson for that P-bar title. His teammate, Christian Grahovsky, is someone this Buckeye team has leaned on all season, and if he can just be consistent tonight, he'll be a difference maker, especially on the vault, where he has a season high of 14.35.
What about specialists?
We've got some good ones, Dean. Ohio State's Jesse Pikelli is a former Big Ten champion on floor exercise, capable of spectacular gymnastics there. Then Parker Thaxton is world class on the pommel horse, routinely scoring 15+, which can make all the difference in a meet like this. For Penn State, Matthew Underhill is ranked 6th in the nation on still rings with gravity-defying strength. And finally, Aksili Karsikis is ranked 6th in the country on high bar, so you can look for him to close the meet in high-flying fashion.
Big Ten with 5 teams, all really good. Nebraska at 3, Michigan at 4. These 2 teams at 5 and 6, and Illinois at 7. All of them trying to run down Oklahoma and Stanford. Let's tell you how this works today. 6 rotations, 4 up, 4 count for each team. They'll all compete on the same apparatus. And Brandon Burns, I'll have you break down execution and difficulty.
Well, Dean, every skill in gymnastics is assigned a difficulty value, and when you add up the 8 most difficult skills in a routine, that creates your total difficulty score. Separately, your execution starts at a perfect 10, and as the athletes do their routines, judges deduct from that for any errors. At the end of the routine, we add the difficulty score to what's left of execution. That's your final number.
You see Randy Jepson, who has been with Penn State even longer than 34 years, but 34 as the top man, 3-time National Coach of the Year, and he's a national champion as well. Rustam Sharapov, the Ukrainian gold medalist when the Olympics were in Atlanta in '96. It's his 15th season with the Buckeyes. All right, here we go. First up on the floor, the host, Penn State, Braden Erickson, coming off a 13.42.
Braden has a very clean look on this apparatus. You just got a great look at it there with that stuck first pass. Remember, landings are everything on this event.
Erickson, a sophomore from Oak Grove, Minnesota.
Oh, and that's a tough break right there. That is a tough pass, double front down the side. Usually you would see athletes do that on the diagonal. Doing it down the side, there's just not a lot of room to generate the power needed for that skill. That fall will be a 1-point deduction.
Reminding you, for men's gymnastics, it's 4 up, 4 count. That fall will count for Penn State. Rough way to start.
And that's such a missed opportunity, Dean, because the rest of that routine was beautiful. He stuck every other landing except this one. But as we said, 1 point off. It's got to count. Missed opportunity there from the leadoff by Penn State.
The leadoff for Ohio State is Jacob Harmon, whose last meet was a 13.15. Jacob does have a career high of 13.8, and there is the senior leadoff and the senior anchor for Rustam and the Buckeyes on the floor. Here's Jacob Harmon.
And this is an interesting situation here, Dean, because sometimes if you see the other team have a fall, it takes a little pressure off. Other times, you know that there's an open door to gain some ground, and it puts even more pressure on these athletes.
Excellent point, Brandon Burns.
New rule change for this year. Every corner transition must be unique. After an athlete lands their tumbling pass and they move into the corner to set up for the next one, they cannot do the same movement multiple times.
To your point, he does seem relaxed so far.
So far, so good. This non-acrobatic skill here is a requirement. Every athlete on floor must do a skill that is not a flip of some sort. Add a little variety to the routines. Nice landing on that combination pass there. 2.5 punch layout. He will get bonus points for directly connecting those two skills. Just the dismount left. And an opportunity captured by the Buckeyes, and Jacob Harmon gets the stick bonus there. That'll be an extra 1/10 on top of an already great routine. Here's that combination, back 2.5 directly into the front layout. Whenever you connect a twisting skill into a non-twisting skill like that on floor exercise, the judges will award some bonus points for the connection.
Up next for Penn State, Kasper Gončarić. He comes in having just set his career in season high at 13.35 in his last meet.
He looks fired up before he even gets started here. You see the expression on his face. Ready to go. Big opening pass, front full to a double front, done very, very well. This is a tough pass coming up right here. It's a back 3.5 twists. Nicely done. As we mentioned, that is the key. Land and don't move. Every step on any apparatus upon landing could be either a 1/10 or 3/10 deduction. 1/10 for smaller hops or steps, 3 for larger ones. Minimizing those is key on this apparatus. Another good landing there, same connection pass that we saw earlier. Just the dismount, Arabian double half out. Nicely done from Kasper Gončarić.
Put the guns away as well as he finished there. That's a nice response.
Way to pick it up after the mistake earlier in the lineup. 3.5 twists, 1 piece of air. There is a lot of gymnastics going on there. Very tough. One of the very few people in the world that can beat that skill.
Noah Copeland next to go for Ohio State, 13.6. Last week against Michigan, seen right here on the Big Ten Network. Career high of a 13.866. Here's Noah Copeland.
Double twisting, double back to open up. That's 2 flips, 2 twists.
Noah, sophomore from Lancaster, Ohio, not too far from Columbus.
That scale or balance on 1 foot used to be a requirement. Changing the rules this year, they made it where you can do a few different skills to fulfill that same requirement. Some guys choose to do that scale anyway just to give themselves a breather. bell. That means he has 10 seconds to finish the routine. Double pike dismount, another stick. Dean, I think both of these teams have been working their stuck dismounts in the gym over the last couple of weeks.
They've also been working on their celebrations.
Putting some personality into it. Here's another look. Double pike, recently upgraded skill. Land and don't move the feet. Gymnastics 101 right there.
Rustam is happy. Yeah, Rustam's, his reactions are always on point. I do want to tell you that Jacob Harmon with a season-high 13.6 as we move to Sean Smith, coming off a 13.25. Penn State has not had a meet in a couple weeks. Career high for Sean is 13.7.
Big tumbling there. I thought he was going to get the stick. Couldn't quite hang on to it, but only a 1/10 deduction. That was a full twisting double layout, and you could see as soon as he hit the ground on that first skill in that connection pass, his knees buckled just a little bit, and unfortunately a second fall for Penn State. And now the pressure is on. No matter how much you try and isolate yourself mentally, when a situation like that occurs, you know that you cannot afford to give up any other deductions for the rest of this routine. And he does a good job of it. Great stick to finish off the routine, but another missed opportunity from Penn State. That would have been a huge score had it not been for this right here. Full into the double front, and there was no chance at that landing coming out of that first connection skill there.
So we move back to Ohio State. It'll be Chase Davenport Mills, who had a 14.05. I said last week that matchup was actually Monday. It's been a long week. His career high is 14.3. Chase Davenport Mills from the state of Georgia.
Same pass we just saw the fall on. No issues for Chase.
Really clean. All right, Brandon, you saw just kind of a little bit of wobble there. What kind of deduction is he going to get there on that pass?
Just 1/10. Anything that is a loss of balance, an arm circle, leaning to the side, just a 1/10 deduction. Nice triple Russian swing there, similar to what you might see on Pommel horse. Uses that to fulfill his non-acrobatic requirement. Tough dismount here. It's a connection pass. He does a whip into the Arabian double front. That's a tough dismount. And again with the celebrations. These guys are taking it up a notch.
So are the women. Congratulations, by the way, to UCLA, your Big Ten champs last night. Let's talk deductions.
Well, there's a lot of different deductions that the judges can give, but these are the most common ones. Steps or hops can be up to 3/10 depending on how large they are. General form deductions can be anywhere from 1/10, 3/10, or 5/10. That includes things like bent arms, legs apart. But the big one that you want to avoid that unfortunately we've already seen a few of is the one at the bottom of your screen there, a fall. That is the full point deduction.
So this will be Matthew Underhill, coming off a 13.2, has a career high, as you see right there, of 13.65.
Front double full down the side to open up with. Dean, this pass always amazes me. It was one of my favorite skills as a tumbler, but he does it from a round off. Double layout, doesn't even need the back handspring to generate the momentum and the power required for that skill. That's so impressive.
Davenport Mills score pop up, 13-2.
Not the most difficult side pass there, just a front full. want to see these guys sticking those easier skills, holding on to those little tenths that add up throughout the course of the meet. And he's got to hurry now. You heard that bell, only 10 seconds left. Arabian double front half out. I think I heard the bell ring before his feet hit the ground. The judges might take a neutral deduction for going over time there. Here's that double layout again from the round off, just flying through the air. You could drive a car under him while he does that skill.
Major height as the last to go for the Buckeyes, Jesse Piccoli, 13.55 against Michigan, career high of 14.25. 1 and 2 for the Buckeyes. Harmon and Copeland both with season highs. So see if they can do 3 out of 4.
We mentioned during the Open, this is a former Big Ten champion on this event. And when he won that championship, it was because he stuck every single pass. So he's capable of very precise landings. Haven't seen it so far yet, but he's capable of it.
He's had his chest out on both, right?
A little bit. That is an additional deduction that the judges can take. Even if you stick like that, if you bend down or bend forward too much, the judges will call that an improper landing shape and take a deduction.
Underhill with a 13.45 for Penn State right before Jesse hit the floor. Ohio State ranked 6th in the country on the floor with a 52.9 average.
Another Arabian half out, nicely done. They'll still take a few tenths for the chest being low, but remember, when you stick or dismount, you do get the 1/10 stick bonus. Some nice flare work here. Another relatively recent change to the code of points. Can only count one of those circle or flare type elements on floor.
So rotation 1 underway. They'll move to the pommel horse where Parker Thaxton for Ohio State has a 15.3. Right now, get 3 months of Big Ten Plus for just $5.99 a month with promo code SAVE26. You get access to hundreds of live Big Ten sporting events, full and condensed replays and highlights. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to BigTenPlus.com and make sure to enter SAVE26 when selecting a monthly pass at checkout to take advantage of this offer.
Back here at Rec Hall, here's a look at what happened last week with our weekly awards. Charlie Larson from Michigan, Gymnast of the Week. Great performances on both floor and vault. Carson Eshelman came in clutch during that competition to clinch the win against Ohio State on Monday. And then Sam Rikita, Freshman of the Week, 13.85 on the rings. That's a tough score to get on that apparatus. Here's the results from our last rotation. Penn State digging themselves into a little bit of a hole here with those 2 scores in the 12s, having to count 2 falls. Ohio State captured that opportunity, mid to high 13s all across the board.
As we move to the second rotation and the pommel horse, it's kind of fascinating. The average score for both teams are identical, 52.407. Ohio State will lead off with Christian Grahowski, 13.7 against Michigan, career high of 14.45. Tremendous lead off for Rustam and the Buckeyes.
And Dean, even though those average scores are the same, I would give a slight edge to Ohio State on this event. They've got a very talented team, but it's a lot of high risk, high reward scenarios they've got to hit. Beautiful Beautiful one pommel work here to open up from Christian, and he looked like he was almost a little bit off balance there. Covered it up very well. Flare work there, splitting the legs, does upgrade those skills slightly. Relatively simple dismount, triple Russian off the edge, but a great lead off. Pommel horse is one of those events where by far the most important thing is building your momentum and just not having any major breaks. A lot can go wrong on pommel horse, but this is a great example from Christian of how to start your team off on the right foot.
Coach Jempson for Penn State has dealt with a ton of injuries this year, last year as well, but even more this year, as Bobby Alessio will lead off. His last meet was back on March 1, where he had a 13.25, which happens to be his career high.
He can be good on this event. We just talked about flares from Christian Grahovski. Bobby does a lot of flared skills in the second half of his routine. Very beautiful work, but it can be very tiring. Starts right here. See him slowing down just a little bit there. He did a great job picking it back up. You could see him start to tire out at the end, but great job fighting through the routine and keeping pretty good form all the way throughout. Tough skills right here. This is a flared spindle, so his body is circling in one direction and he's twisting in the opposite.
Decent performance from Bobby. As we move to Jace Hashimoto, he set his career high against Michigan of 13.4. So Sean Smith did get upgraded. And here comes Hashimoto.
Big skill coming up early in the routine. Full spin, very nicely done.
Seal in with a 13 for Penn State.
One thing you want to look for on those traveling skills when the athlete is moving from one end to the other is, does their belly button stay in line with the horse? If you start to skew or face sideways a little bit, that is always a deduction. Look at the dismount here. A little hesitation going up to that handstand. The judges will deduct a little bit for that, but avoids disaster. You never want to see an athlete go down and back up. That's when you don't get credit for the dismount. Jace avoided that there and muscled it up.
Up next for the Nittany Lions, Ricky Perez, 13.9 career high. Coming off a rough performance, though, at 12.15. He'll be looking to forget about that and try to track down that near 14 number that Ricky Perez is capable of.
And he does the same full spin on one hand that we just saw from Jace. Had trouble with it the last two times out. Coming up right here. No problems at all for Ricky Perez today.
Hashimoto, 13.35.
Great job on those traveling skills, staying right in line with the horse. Oh, and a little bit of a fight to get to the handstand. Remember, the rule is if your hips reverse direction, that is when the judges will not give credit. That one could go either way, Dean. I think in a championship scenario where the judging might be a little tighter, you could argue that he reversed direction there. I have a feeling they'll give it to him here.
Next to go for the Buckeyes will be Conlon Simpkins. who had a 13.95, looked solid on the Big Ten Network earlier this week. His career high is a 14.15.
Up with a scissor hop element there. Some sort of scissor element like that is a requirement. Every athlete must do at least one. Unique skill there. Very similar to the full spin on one arm that we've seen a few times. He does a 3/4 spin. Puts his other hand down on that same one pommel. Oh, and just ran out of steam there. Has to take the fall. And this is always a tough situation. You've got 30 seconds. You're already tired. You might be in your head. You have to forget about what just happened and get back up there and minimize deductions.
So Colin Simpkins will get back up on the horse.
He was so close to the end of that routine, Dean. A little struggle on the dismount. Oh, he's going to hear about that in the gym this week. Rule number 1 of gymnastics is never take a hop on a pommel horse dismount. And as we mentioned, he basically did his entire routine, fell at the very end, so he was just gassed by the time he had to get back up there and do that dismount again.
Third in the rotation for Penn State will be Kasper Garncharik. 19 nationally for Kasper.
And he can be really, really good here. He's gotten a 13.6 in his last 2 competitions. Most important thing you want to watch for on pommel horse is a straight line between the shoulders and the toes. You don't want any pike or closing of the hips in these circles. A little fight there. Hung on to it, but you can tell he's fighting through this routine. Got his momentum back now. Just the dismount left. He's tired, but he's making it work. Kasper Garncharik with a gritty routine. And he's fired up about that one.
And so is the crowd.
Nice dismount here. Does the pirouettes or spins in those handstands all the way down and back. Gives himself a little upgrade and start value.
Big smile and a hug there from Randy Jepson. Randy, who grew up out in the Pacific Northwest. Showed up in Happy Valley and has not left. Loves it there. Parker Thaxton, the real deal. With a career high against Michigan, a 15.3. And he comes in rolling, and you were really impressed with his last performance.
It's hard to not always be impressed when you watch Parker Thaxton on pommel horse. He's got one of the most difficult routines being competed in the entire country, and if he hits, it can be a massive score.
Buckeyes were really close to getting an upset win over Michigan. Meanwhile, Penn State, with all those injuries, Michigan beat them by 15.
It's been a rough year for Penn State with the injuries, having to make a lot of substitutions in the lineup. And that is so difficult. World-class pommel horse work here from Parker Thaxton. That triple Russian, we've seen it done on floor, we've seen it done on the edge of the horse. Doing it on one pommel is exponentially more difficult. There's just no room for error, and right when we say it, another unfortunate break for Ohio State there. Full spin on one hand, really open hips, straight line throughout the body. But here's the thing, Dean, his start value and difficulty is so high that if he keeps it clean through the rest of the routine, he could still have a decent score. This could be in the mid-13s, even with the fall. Oh, but not with that. That will be no credit for that dismount. He'll have to repeat that. Adds in the extra pirouette, gives himself another 1/10 of difficulty there. But 2 points off in falls alone. Uncharacteristic mistake for otherwise a world-class routine.
Does open the door for the Nittany Lions. Landon Simpson will be the anchor for Coach Jepson. Ranked 17th in the country, Landon. 13.85 career high, coming off the 11.8. Proof, as we just saw with Parker Thaxton, even the ones that you normally count on, they'll slip up. This is a tough event.
Well, we always compare pommel horse to the balance beam in women's gymnastics because it's just such a mentally taxing event. There's so much that can go wrong. There's so little room for error. And sometimes when mistakes do happen, they compound very, very quickly. Now, Landon did fall on one of these flare skills last time out against Michigan. No such issues today. Up for the dismount. Nicely done. It's a great shot of the flare work there. That exact skill is what he fell on during that Michigan meet just a couple of weeks ago.
So Penn State with a couple falls in the first rotation. Second rotation, the Buckeyes suffer the falls as they work it tighter. We'll move to the rings when we return to Rec Hall right here on the Big Ten Network. Perfect time for the 2-box as it's senior day in Ann Arbor with Nebraska and Michigan. Michigan with the lead, and again, if Michigan wins, they will be your Big Ten regular season champs. And senior day at Penn State, where they just also recognized one of their national championship teams here at Rec Hall. Speaking of national champions, mad props to the Penn State wrestling team that did it again. 13 of the last 15 years for that program. As we get ready for the rings, take a look at the horse scores.
Well, we kind of flip-flops, Dean. On floor, Penn State was giving away some points with the falls there. This time around on pommel horse, it was Ohio State. You see Parker Thaxton 12-2 there with 2 falls, and then you never want to see a score in the 11s. That's how you lose meets, so that is unfortunate to see for the Buckeyes there. This is going to be a close meet, Dean. We've seen some mistakes from both sides. These guys got to get it together for the rest of the meet.
It was the 1976 team that they just honored, the national champs. And let me tell you, these young men look pretty good. They look like they could still get out there and get on the rings. Take a look at how these two teams stack up nationally.
Well, pretty evenly matched on most of these events. You see 6th and 5th on floor. You see 3rd and 5th on vault. So these guys are really evenly matched, and that's honestly been the story of the Big Ten this entire season.
This is the conference rankings for the 5-team Big Ten men's gymnastics. Penn State first on the rings, as you just saw, if you don't remember, 3rd nationally with a 52.579 average. Ohio State with a 52.442 average. Final prep work for Penn State will be Sean Smith, Kellen Ryan, Okseli Karsikas, and Matt Underhill. For the Buckeyes, Drake Andrews, Peyton Contini, David Ramirez, and Jess Kelly.
Elements for range, swinging skill, strength skill.
It's a good warm-up there, Dean. You never stick your dismount in a warm-up. You'll jinx yourself.
There's Sean Smith. His last meet was back on March 1. They had a 12-7, the freshman. That's his highest score.
And Dean, this is a good event for both of these teams to be on right now after those couple mistakes from each team. Rings, typically a little bit safer of an event. You don't ever really worry about falls except for the dismount, so this can be a good place for both of these teams to get their momentum back. Unique skill there, called a front uprise L. Don't see those too often, more of an old school gymnastics move. And that's a break there. You want to fly up to the handstand with minimal effort. Oh, and that is something you will rarely see at this level of competition. Swung up to that handstand, was just a little bit short and swung back down the other way.
20 seconds.
Unfortunate break here for Penn State on the rings. And remember, this is a very tiring event. Still rings is all about strength, making it even more difficult to finish up after a mistake like that.
Hate to do it to you, BB, but a little bit of a broadcaster jinx on the fall there.
Maybe. He does repeat the skill, so he'll get credit for it. That was the skill that he fell on there. Just the dismount, double twisting, double back, and another fall from Penn State.
Randy always positive with his athletes. Uh, 22 in the country, Drake Andrews. 13-4 in the meet against Michigan. Career high of 13.95.
And this is a major open door for the Buckeyes. Sean Smith's routine, not the most difficult, did not start from a very high start value. So if Ohio State can hit 4 rings routines, I expect them to be up by quite a few points. Nice skill there. That's a straight arm, straight body press to handstand. Good sequence there. Those double fronts in between the rings called Yamawakis. Get a little upgrade bonus point for directly connecting it to the back uprise handstand there. Couple steps on the dismount, but overall, very, very clean. Most of the deductions on that routine will come on the dismount. Solid handstand, no movement. Double twisting, double back, a little shuffle. Probably 2 3/10 steps there.
If you recall, I felt like Drake Andrews was setting the tone for that potential upset against the Buckeyes, and the wheels kind of fell off late, but he's got a bright future and definitely establishing himself as a leader. Here's Kellen Ryan coming off a 12-6, career high 13.25. Kellen Ryan on the rings for Penn State.
Dean, ironically, even though you mentioned that Penn State is ranked first in the conference on this event, when we spoke with Coach Jepsen, he said this is actually the event he's most concerned about due to the substitutions in the lineup from his typical rings guys. If you want to put your judging hat on at home, all of these strength skills must be held for 2 full seconds.
Andrews in with a 12-5. Penn State was down 1.9 after the first rotation. Then they had a lead of 1.1 after the second.
Nice duck, double twisting, double back from Kellen Ryan. That will do him some favors. Had a little bit of a deduction on the handstand before that for his arms touching the straps. That's a mandatory 3/10 deduction, but right there, I tell you what, it doesn't get better than that. Just dropped out of the sky for that stuck dismount.
So we'll move over to Peyton Contini. His last time up was back in the end of February, where he had 11.95. Career high of 13.15 for Peyton.
You see him getting his grip right there on the rings with those grips on his hands. They have a dowel in there to help you hang on. If you didn't have those with the G-forces you experience at the bottom of those swings, you would have no hope of hanging on. So those grips give these guys a little security. That's a nice strength skill there. That's a Maltese. First time we've seen that today. It's a nice giant to handstand right there. That's what you want to see. Go straight to the handstand and don't move. It should look like you hit a brick wall upside down in that handstand. Another double-double dismount. Nice routine from Contini there. It's a great look at the Maltese. And he's got a little bit of a swing in the rings as he holds that strength skill, which does make it more difficult. If you hold it less than 2 seconds, that will be a 3/10 deduction, which I anticipate he'll get there.
Peyton, just a freshman. Went to Olentangy Liberty, just down the road from Ohio State. Akseli Karsikis by way of Finland. Karsikis with a 12.75 last time out.
Akseli has some pretty difficult strength skills starting right here, back upright straight planche, and he'll lower down into that Maltese. Makes it even more difficult because there's no break in between the skill. You really have to hold that for around 6 seconds total when you account for moving from skill to skill. And that is so tough right there, a handstand lower into a straight planche. It's difficult for the same reason we mentioned. You have to control that movement all the way from the handstand down until you hit that planche position. Maybe a little bit high on both of those strength moves there. But a nice finish, just the 3/10 step. Could be a solid overall score for Akseli there. Not his best, but solid.
Here's David Ramirez, who had been doing all around. He won't be doing it today. He was really good on the rings, though, against Michigan with a score of 13.05.
Another Maltese. That one was very flat. You always want to see these guys perfectly in between the rings, fighting a little bit there on that straight planche. She did a great job of holding on to it. Sometimes once you begin to sink a little bit on those strength skills, it can be all over. It takes even more strength to hang on.
Karsikis with a 12.6 for Penn State.
And he stuck that dismount cold. Barely even had a reaction. He looked like he expected to stick that. There's that straight planche. You see his stomach start to sink down just a little bit. So much control to hang on to that. It's very tiring, but it does not get better than that. Double twisting, double back. He knew he was going to stick that, Dean.
Yeah, that was impressive because even as he was wobbling, he did keep the ring still, which will help his score.
Absolutely.
Leave it for Matt Underhill. You see that career high, a big number. His last meet, he had a 13-3. Matt Underhill, last to go for Penn State.
And if Penn State is going to make up any ground from the mistakes earlier in the rotation, it'll be because of this routine. That is a big boy strength move right there. A Zarian to a Maltese. Goes into the Maltese position from underneath the rings. Anti-gravity stuff here from Matt Underhill.
Matt, one of those seniors we talked about on senior day.
Uprise straight planche late in the routine. One thing that makes Matt so good at this event is he's super strong, but he has really clean swinging elements as well. Usually with rings guys, you'll get one or the other. Matt can do it all.
They needed that score as Ohio State has picked up a ton of points here.
Well, I think they needed that score, but they also needed that energy and that momentum shift. There's the zero gravity from Matt Underhill with the Azarian Maltese. Very difficult work.
The anchor for the Buckeyes will be Jesse Piccoli. He is also a senior.
And he can be great on this event. Not quite the level of strength that we just saw from Matt Underhill, but what Jesse does so well is the form. Perfectly flat, perfectly level. That's what you want to see.
Underhill, 14-2.
Little leg separation there in that tucked Yamawaki. Should only be 1/10 deduction. And the 3/10 slide back on the dismount. That'll score well. It won't be the same level of score that we saw from Matt Underhill, but a good way to close out the rings rotation for Ohio State.
3 rotations complete in what looks to be a back and forth affair. The 4th rotation will see both teams hit the vault. Nothing better than a little bonus coverage, particularly when it's a U.S. Olympian Fred Richard, one of the best in the world. He's trying to lock up a regular season title on the high bar for Michigan.
Dean, Fred is one of the best in the business, especially when it comes to high bar. So he certainly is closing out that meet on senior night in Ann Arbor in epic fashion.
What a superstar he is.
Guy's got ice in his veins. Nothing bothers that kid.
Tremendous bonus coverage from our wonderful Big Ten Network crew, and Michigan looking to wrap up the regular season title as we move to vault, where Ohio State 2nd in the conference, Penn State 4th, the Buckeyes 3rd in the nation, Penn State 5th. Ohio State will start out with Christian Grahowski, who had a 14 last week.
We highlighted him in the open for this event in particular. He can be great here. Beautiful form in the air. He does take a hop out of bounds, and the rules on that are exactly the same as they are on floor exercise. So if 1 foot goes out of bounds, it's 1/10 deduction additional on top of the step or hop. If both feet go out, it's 3/10. Looks to me like just 1 foot out. Remember, on the line is in, so just an extra 1/10 there on that landing.
First to go for Penn State will be Kellen Ryan. Back on February 7th was the last time he was featured in the vault lineup, where he had a 13-8.
Coach Jepsen said, vault is not a game-changer event for us. We just need everyone to do their job and focus on controlling those landings. Oh, I thought he had the stick. Nonetheless, almost perfect form in the air. Does a great job of minimizing those landing deductions too. Right next to the vault table there, you can see how explosive that power is coming off of the table. Just barely gives up the 1/10 hop. That'll be a big score for the Nittany Lions, though.
Chase Davenport Mills coming off a 14. Second in the lineup for the Buckeyes.
Chase will do a Yurchenko-style vault. Typically a little bit cleaner. So instead of cartwheeling onto the vault table, we'll do a round off onto the springboard, back handspring onto the table. Usually can avoid some of those pre-flight deductions with form going from the board to the table. Oh, and it was so clean in the air, just sat down on the landing. That's a 2.5, relatively recent upgrade for him. He used to only do a double full. Adds in the extra half twist, just not quite enough juice. That'll be another 1-point deduction.
An update from Ann Arbor, Michigan. They knock off Nebraska, and the Michigan Wolverines, the regular season champs. Michigan continues to dominate in men's gymnastics.
Well, the big story for me there, Dean, is that 333. Those are Oklahoma, Stanford type numbers. That's going to put them, if they can continue that trend, in a great spot to fight for a national championship.
Excellent point. As we move back over to Sean Smith.
And I tell you what, Penn State, they've been working on these vault landings. 2 vaults, 2 near sticks. Same vault as his teammate, Kazumatsu, full and a half. That's 2.5 twists all the way around. Just a small landing deduction. Now the judges will hit him there when he goes from the springboard to the table. That separation of the legs, very hard to avoid that on those Kazumatsu style vaults.
I give Coach Jepsen a ton of credit for what just happened there with this freshman, Sean Smith, after the 2 falls on the rings. Delivered a pretty solid routine there on the vault as we move back over to David Ramirez, coming off a career-high 14-4 in his last meet for the Buckeyes.
And where David excels is exactly what we just talked about, that pre-flight form right here, legs glued together. Gorgeous form in that vault. Big step on the landing. Judges will take 3/10 for that. But overall, very solid performance here.
He likes it. Smith with a 14.05. Tremendous response after we saw both teams have their lowest score of the season on the rings. They're responding here in rotation for the vault. It'll be Landon Simpson coming off a 13.9 in his last meet. Ramirez with a 14 flat.
And there we have it. His 2 teammates before him got close. Landon Simpson closed the deal with a stuck vault. Pretty solid form in the air and right down the middle too. Lands right on that center line.
Simpson grew up just down the road from Happy Valley. Gets a happy handshake from Coach Jepsen. With 1 more to go for both teams. You see that 14 for Ramirez. And he'll make way for Zach Snyder, who does have a career high of 15. His last performance was a 14.05.
And Zach is more than capable of sticking this vault. We've seen a stick from the Nittany Lions. Can we get one from the Buckeyes? Almost. Again, very good form in the air. Just not a lot of deductions. Nice happy dance there. I think you should get bonus points for that. Feet glued together, legs straight. Just a 1/10 hop on the landing. That should be in the 14s.
The anchor spot for the Nittany Lions is held by Matt Underhill. You see his career high coming off a 13.95 for Matt. Snyder with a 14.15.
Underhill, a very powerful gymnast, both on rings and here on the vault. Another stuck vault from the Nittany Lions. The mental strength of this team to come back from, quite frankly, Dean, what was a pretty disastrous rings rotation and then get 2 sticks on vault. That's the kind of fight you want to see from your team leading into the postseason.
Well done, back to back there. And expecting a decent score there. Snyder, by the way, tied his season high at 14.15. Underhill also with a big score. We got a tight one here at Rec Hall. Penn State and Ohio State. They'll hit the P-bars when we return. July 11th, the BTN Big 10K returns to Soldier Field in Chicago. Scan the QR code or register right now at btnbig10k.com to be a part of the 10K or 5K race and post-race tailgate party. Go back to Ann Arbor where the Michigan Wolverines hoisting the trophy, and of course, Fred's got to be the man to do it, as Michigan, you got to believe with the win as well, will climb the rankings and might even be knocking on the door of Stanford and Oklahoma.
I think they most certainly will, Dean. Great performance from them on senior night in Ann Arbor. Here's a look at the vault. Great job by the Nittany Lions recovering from that rings rotation. Solid scores all the way through, capped off by those 2 sticks. Unfortunately, another mistake from Ohio State. You see that 12.75 there from Chase Davenport Mills. That is going to put them in a slight deficit going into the back 2 rotations of the meet.
Let's make it official by showing you the standings. All is left as the result of this meet. Michigan, perfect at 4-0. Meanwhile, how about this meet? Ohio State won the floor and the rings. Penn State won the horse and the vault. The teams have traded leads each rotation as we head to the P-bars, where Penn State is 5th in the nation and Ohio State is 7th. And here is the all-around starting order for the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships. Mr. Burns will join me in Lincoln for that. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great time, Dean. You know, from a coaching perspective, you always tell your team, whatever event we are starting on, that's the one that we were hoping for. You always try and get your team in the right mindset with these lineups here.
Chuck Chumelka and the Cornhuskers will be the host. Nebraska was scheduled to also host the women, but because of some scheduling issues, it was moved to Illinois, where last night on the Big Ten Network, as I mentioned earlier, UCLA winning the Big Ten 2-for-2 for the UCLA women's program. Penn State averaging a flat 52 on the P-bars. Ohio State a 51.867.
Saw just a moment ago there the meticulous preparation that goes into getting the bars to feel exactly how these guys want them. I've seen it go either way, Dean. I've seen guys that are so meticulous they bring their own chalk to the venue with them because they want it to feel a certain way. And I've seen some people say, that doesn't really make a difference to me.
Good stuff, Brandon. Bobby Alessio. He's got his hands all in the chalk. 11-7. Last time out, he'll be looking to improve on that. Bobby Alessio, the leadoff for Penn State on the parallel bars.
And this is typically a very clean routine for him. You mentioned that 11-7. That came from a fall on his dismount last time out. We'll be looking to improve on that here. We just talked about how these guys prep the bars. It's important for skills like that. The first few that we just saw are all considered long hang or underbar skills, where that grip becomes so important. Dismount right here. That's where he fell last time. A little stutter step, but manages to stay on his feet. Not a very long routine, not the most difficulty that we'll see. But in that leadoff spot, consistency is key. You want to get your team started on the right foot with a hit routine, and Bobby Alessio did just that.
Christian Grahovsky coming off a 12-9, but capable of big numbers with a 13-9-5 career high. We talked about what they put on their hands. How about the adjustment on the P-bars that they make between gymnasts?
So the width is very important because it's going to vary from athlete to athlete. If you've got a guy with broader shoulders, you're going to set the bars a little bit wider. Otherwise, they would be too restricted when they try and swing between them. And of course, vice versa. A guy with a little bit smaller build, you're going to bring the bars in so that it's comfortable for him.
Christian Grahovsky leading off for the Buckeyes on the P-bars, rotation 5.
Big release move right off the bat. Well done. Coach Rustam said they've been putting a lot of attention into the details, focusing on not stepping or moving the hands during those handstand elements. Nice skill there called a bobzar, travels from one end of the bars to the other. One thing Christian does so well on this event is those handstands. Just beautiful, clean lines all the way through. Double pike dismount. Not bad at all for the leadoff spot for the Buckeyes. A little bit more difficulty there than what we saw from Penn State's leadoff. Here's that release skill. Does not feel good at all on the upper arms when your entire weight is crashing down on those bars, but worth a lot of difficulty points.
All of these athletes are just simply fantastic. I know rings and floor was where you kind of preferred to hang out, right?
Absolutely. Usually you've got two types of gymnasts. You've got your powerful, strong guys that excel at rings, floor, and vault, and your more finesse guys that are good at parallel bars, high bar, and pommel horse. And I don't have an ounce of finesse in me, so I was a rings and floor guy.
Kasper Garncharek. Kasper had a rough outing his last time out, but his career high is a 13.65.
Looking to put on a show here. Coach Jepson said Kasper bought his parents plane tickets to come see this meet on senior day. He fell on this last time out, and a big break there. Great fight from Kasper. Most guys would have fallen off the bars there. Oh, and right when we said it, another mistake from the Nittany Lions. skill called a Makoots. Just gets that right hand down on the bars a little bit too late. Does a great job fighting it up to the handstand there. Unfortunately, though, that's kind of a double whammy with deductions. He'll get a half of a point off for hitting the apparatus there, and then, of course, the full point for the fall. Needs to be almost perfect from here on out. Big dismount, double front. Hop on the landing there, not what Casper's capable of.
So the first two, a little shaky for Penn State. Meanwhile, Christian Grachowski with a season-high 13-4. Now it's Drake Andrews coming off a 13.85, which is his season high, his career high 14-1. And if you recall, in the match against Michigan, I was all about Drake Andrews and just felt like he was kind of the spirit behind the team as they tried to make a run at the Big Ten champs Michigan.
He's a key contributor to this Buckeye team for sure. He's very consistent on multiple events. Unique mount right there too, that free hip handstand. Don't see too many guys doing that. And he'll also do the Makoots. Nicely done. That little slide with his hand right there is what we were talking about with Coach Rustam saying attention to detail is key on this event. Every time you move your hand in a handstand, it is a 1/10 deduction. Overall, though, for Drake Andrews, very nice routine, not a lot of deduction. Double pike dismount, chest down on the landing. They'll hit him for 3/10 there. But again, at this point, what you're looking for is consistency.
Penn State will close with two athletes in Simpson and Karsikis that had their career highs in their last meet, and they'll need similar scores. Simpson last time out with a 13-9. Karsikis, the anchor, with a 13-3. Landon Simpson would love to deliver right here and needs to as they go back and forth again here now in rotation 5.
These are two critical routines. You saw that one score in the 11s, another one in the 12. Not what they're looking for so far in this parallel bar lineup. The good news is these last two guys are both veterans and both capable of some big scores.
Simpson, a junior.
Very tough skill. That's a front uprise Diamidov. That's a front uprise Stutz. You see those skills a lot from a support swing, doing them from the upper arms in that front uprise position makes it far more difficult, and the start value gets upgraded accordingly. Nice skill there too. It's called a Peters. Stutz to one bar, big double front. That is exactly what this Penn State team needed to help get them back on track, swing the momentum their direction a little bit. World-class difficulty here from Landon Simpson. And probably only a 1/10 hop on the landing there. Didn't give a lot away on that routine.
So that'll lead us to Jesse Picali. Senior. Last time out, 13-4.
We talked about how good his form was on the rings. Very much the same story here on parallel bars. A lot of good lines. Just perfect handstands. Big release element there. Done very well. Small hop on the landing, but that's about as good as I've seen Jesse look on the parallel bars. Just doesn't give anything away to the judges when you have your feet glued together like that. Good amplitude on those release moves. Very high execution score incoming for Jesse Picali there.
His Buckeye teammates like it. Sally Karsikis, as I mentioned, coming off his career high with a 13-3. How about that score from Landon Simpson, a new career high, seen right here on the Big Ten Network, 14-1-5, and boy, was that needed.
Could not have come at a better time for Landon Simpson.
So in this rotation, we've seen Grahovsky hit a season high. Simpson hit a career high. Now Karsikis will try to top that 13-3 mark here in the anchor spot for Penn State, rotation 5.
And I really enjoy the way that Karsikis does gymnastics. We'll talk about it more on high bar, but he's one of the most aggressive and dynamic athletes on the floor. Parallel bars is no different. He just attacks his gymnastics. Big dismount, double front half, and absolutely nailed it. I tell you what, Dean, there's been mistakes on both sides of the aisle here today, but these Nittany Lions are not going to go down without a fight. Consistently, the second half of their lineup on every event has been lights out.
Greeted first by Coach Jepson. David Ramirez in the anchor spot. Like his counterparts over at Penn State in Simpson and Karsikis, he's coming off his career high with a 14.05. David Ramirez.
Especially be on the lookout for the dismount here in David's routine. Does one of the most difficult dismounts being competed in the entire country.
Karsikis with a 13.4.
Relatively unique mount. That peach to handstand puts his arms and hands on the outside of the bars. Most athletes elect to put them inside the bars for a more comfortable grip. Seems to work out pretty well for David Ramirez. Relatively simple skill there before this dismount, giving himself a little breather. One of the most difficult dismounts in the world, full twisting double back. And that's exactly what we saw him do last week against Michigan. Not only does he do one of the most difficult dismounts, but he sticks it all the time. World class from David Ramirez.
Fantastic. His teammates, it's almost like they knew it was coming for Ramirez. Ohio State right back in it here as we head to the final rotation. Penn State trying to bring some heat. Coming up, it's softball. UCLA will take on Rutgers, and that's next on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Senior night in Happy Valley as take a look at the P-Bar scores. Rough start for Penn State, but a nice finish.
Well, it's really a story of consistency versus heavy hitters. Over there on the Buckeye side, you see very tight scores. Not much of a range there, all in the mid-13s, but that's not a bad thing. It just means that they're consistent and they hit routines. For Penn State, you see some big numbers, 14-1-5 from Landon Simpson. They needed that, but they did have to count a fall, which unfortunately put them behind on that rotation.
So once again, we have a lead change. I don't know if I've ever seen this where it's gone back and forth this much through 5 rotations, as the Buckeyes now back up, not quite by 2 points, but pretty close to it with a 264.25.
We said during the open it was going to be an exciting meet, and it certainly has not disappointed. It's going to come down to this last rotation.
Jacob Harmon coming up a 13.75.
Good half talk skill there. He strategically starts his routine off to the side on the bar just a little bit, so that after his first pirouetting or spinning element, he's right in the middle, giving you the most bounce on the bar. Just the dismount, double twisting, double layout, and a stuck landing for the Buckeyes' first routine. And where Jacob excels is he's so clean. This routine isn't the most difficult that we'll see today. He certainly liked it, right at the camera.
The leadoff for Penn State will be Kellen Ryan, coming off a 12.9.
Dean, these are two very different strategies for your leadoff routine. Ohio State went with Jacob Harmon, who didn't have the highest difficulty, but he's extremely clean on high bar. Gives almost nothing for those judges to deduct. This routine from Kellen Ryan, though, is high flying. He's going to do some of the most difficult release moves that we'll see all night. High risk, high reward coming up from your leadoff. Lots of release elements in this routine. A little flat on that half talk. You want to see that finish in a perfect handstand, but watch this, full twisting double layout over the bar. He's not done yet. He'll do another one in the tucked position. Same dismount we saw from Jacob Harmon, and the same landing we saw from Jacob Harmon. 2 sticks back to back.
I feel like Ryan could be looking at a new career high.
A little bit of form in the air on that Casina. This is where the strategy gets interesting. Do we do a cleaner routine, minimize deduction, go for a high execution score, or do we do these high flying skills just like that, take the risk, but up the difficulty value?
Pats on the back for Ryan. You see the 13.45 for Jacob. It'll be Noah Copeland coming off a solid 13.05 in his last meet for the Buckeyes.
Noah has some interesting routine construction. It's always a personal choice. Some people like to do their release moves earlier on in the routine where they have the most energy. Noah takes the opposite approach. He does some of his more intricate pirouetting elements first, saves the releases for later.
Great to have that detail from Brandon Burns. You know, it's interesting because you talked about the strength of the rings and the floor, but sometimes on the P-bar or in the high bar, I mean, they are flying just so violently as well. It can be pretty aggressive. Justin Spring, member of the former Illini coach, was so good on the high bar.
He was the poster child for aggression on high bar. And strength helps you out here too. Now, my motto is always, technique is for the weak. If you're strong enough, you can make anything happen. Full twisting double back, just beautifully done. Kicks out of that tuck position. So much amplitude on those releases. Well, we've seen 3 routines and 3 sticks. It hasn't been an easy meet for either of these teams so far, but they are showing some heart here in the home stretch.
Truly saving the best for last, both these teams. As we move back over to Kasper Garncharek. 12-5 last time out for Kasper. Season high of 13-6 and a career high of 13-7.
And as an athlete, this is where you need to have a little bit of strategic amnesia. We saw the mistake from Kasper on parallel bars. He's got to put that behind him, stay present, stay in the moment, and do what he's capable of on high bar.
Strategic amnesia. Well said.
Beautiful full spin on one arm there. He'll do a layout to Kachev over the bar. And again, very good amplitude on those releases. The judges look for that. There's a difference between doing a skill and just barely managing to catch the bar and then having so much time, so much amplitude that it almost looks easy for you. As a rule of thumb, the easier gymnastics looks, even though it's never easy, the higher you'll score.
With mom and dad in the house, can he deliver?
Takes the hop on the landing, but very clean. He's getting the crowd on his side. Had to get a little spot from Coach Rustam there. Here's the Tkachev, just flies over the bar. You want to look for how much space is in between the bar and his feet. He had a lot of clearance on that release move, which is exactly what you're looking for. Mascot liked it too.
He kind of ran into the gold medalist, Ohio State coach Rustam Sharapov, and special moment there, fair play. There really is a connection, isn't there, with the teams and all the gymnasts.
Of course, it's such a small world at this level of gymnastics. Everybody knows one another, and at the end of the day, even though you're competing, you still want the best for each other.
Christian Grachowski setting his season high in the last meet of a 13.55. Career high of 14 flat for Christian.
Christian has one of the most unique dismounts on this apparatus in the conference. You'll see a lot of guys do, that was beautiful right there, very difficult release move. You see a lot of people compete that skill without the full twist. He jazzes it up a little bit there. But you'll see a lot of people do what's called a tap, either going into their release moves or their dismount, which is just bending the bar at the right timing to get it to bounce you in the direction you want to go. Christian does not do that in his dismount. And that was beautiful. Exactly what you want to see, directly to the handstand, no angle deductions. There's that unique dismount, tucks double-double, and another stick. And another celebration to go with it. These guys are hungry to win this meet. They know how close this competition is, and they know it's going to come down to this event, and it's going to come down to landings like that. Skillful photography there, following along the giant swings.
Big Ten Network may need to pick him up. It'll be Landon Simpson next to go. He also set his career high the last time out for Penn State as the celebration continues for Grahofsky. Hard to leave him as here comes Simpson with a 13.5 his last time out, his career high.
Releases here. I always say Landon makes his high bar routine look almost lazy, but in the best way possible. It just doesn't look difficult for him. Oh, and that's a huge break after some great successes earlier on in this high bar lineup. That will be a full point deduction for the fall. Even if you only tap your hands on the ground, if the judges decide you put your weight, your full weight on the hands, that is a fall.
So after big scores from Ryan and Garncharek, tough one from Simpson as we move to Drake Andrews. I put the jinx on Andrews in the last meet against Michigan as he was brilliant and then struggled on the high bar with a 12.65. What kind of amnesia do we need?
Strategic amnesia.
Thank you. And what's for the week?
Oh, technique. Don't need it. Drake Andrews looking for redemption after last week. He can be excellent on this event. He has 4 total releases. It's a high-flying routine. Starts right here. Beautiful. Little mistake there. He caught that release element a little bit too close to the bar. He had to bend his elbows to get over the top of the bar on the way out of it. Not a disaster, though.
Right before him, Grahofsky tying his career high with a 14 flat.
Giving away some easy tenths there on the dismount, but certainly an improvement from last week. Full twisting double layout. He's looking for the ground that entire time. Your eyes play a big role in skills like that. You want to see the floor before you hit it so you can prepare for that landing.
See the OH from Drake Andrews. Stick around after Karsikas because on senior night, Will Fleck will get a chance for exhibition. This will count, though, for Karsikas. Coming off a 13.8, he is generally pretty consistent on this apparatus.
Well, you mentioned Justin Spring earlier in the broadcast. Oxelli kind of reminds me of Justin because he's so aggressive on this event. He doesn't hold anything back.
Oh, you said it.
Coach Jepson said he's a great influence to have in the gym just in case anybody else is a little hesitant or timid on this event, Oxelli lets it fly. Intricate work there. Those giants with inverted shoulders. Hurts my shoulders just looking at it. And another stuck landing for these Nittany Lions. It's exactly what you want to see as you begin to approach the postseason, because those sticks are oftentimes the difference between winning and losing in those championship meets. Every 10th counts.
Gorgeous dismount.
High-flying stuff here from Karsikis.
Brandon, there's stuck landings, then there's stuck landings with style, and I say it was the latter there for Karsikis, no?
Absolutely, and that really does make a difference. We talked earlier about how if there's any loss of balance, leaning to the side, arm circles, the judges can still deduct for that, even though it was a stick.
So here is Will Flack on senior day from Fairfax, Virginia.
Unique skill there. That was a Stalter into a Rybalko, which is a 1.5 spin over the bar. Difficult work. Gorgeous pirouetting and in-bar work here from Fleck. Finishing off his senior campaign with a stick. I mean, if you're going to have your last meet and rec hall, why not go out with style?
May give Randy something to think about for Lincoln as well. This was pretty good.
I can see that routine being in a high bar lineup.
The Buckeyes win it, though, with a 317.95. Rustam Sharapov, the top man for the Ohio State Buckeyes. You get the win against Penn State. Truly back and forth, Rustam, but then you hit the P-bars and the high bar to get it done. Talk about what this win means as you enter the Big Ten championships.
We had a slow start, but again, historically we didn't close the meet, but I'm really proud of the team this year. We actually figured out how to close the meet. So it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter what happened. You know, we fight until the end, until the last guy, and I'm really, really proud of the team.
Coach, of course, it wasn't a perfect meet, but you sealed the deal there at the end. How do you coach that kind of resilience, that kind of fight?
I mean, everything starts at the gym. Every day, you know, we preaching that you have to practice like you're competing, so then you're going to compete like you practice. So that's on a daily basis, on each guy, on every turn. Make sure that every turn is meaningful. You know, it's have purpose.
Speaking of purpose, Grachowski tying his career high with a 14. You talk about closing it out. He certainly did.
Yeah, no, he did a great job. I think that was his best high bar I saw this season. You know, and team finished with the 3 sticks, so that's also good. I mean, we now I believe had a best meet. We had a 7 sticks. So and we're trying to raise this number above 10. So that's our goal.
Rustam, always a pleasure. Cannot wait to see you in Lincoln. Oh, Brandon's got one more question for you.
Well, Coach, of course, we've got Big Ten championships coming up here on Big Ten Network in just a couple of weeks. What will you be working on between now and then?
I mean, it's the same. We already have routine sets. It's going to be just a polishing. It's every step, every stick, you know, just the small things. The small things make a big difference.
Great stuff, Rustam. Thanks for the extra question there. Go enjoy your team, as I know you always do. Pleasure spending time with you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Go Bucks!
All right, we'll be back to wrap things up here from Rec Hall. The Buckeyes beat Penn State. The Ohio State Buckeyes travel up to Happy Valley and get a win over Penn State, and we're joined by their super strong Drake Andrews, the junior from Plano, Texas. And Drake, great to be with you. Impressive performance by you and a nice win as you head into the Big Ten championships. Talk about what that win means as you head into Lincoln.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, grateful to be here. Grateful that our team had the opportunity to come here and defeat Penn State. We put a lot of work in the preseason and during regular season. Just had to fight for every single battle we had. Given that we're not at home, we know everything's going to be a little bit tougher, but our team pushed through even when times were rough, and it's always going to be great to fight alongside them for everything we have. And looking forward to postseason,
Hey, Drake, it came down to the wire last week against Michigan. It was such a close loss. I bet some redemption felt pretty good here tonight in Rec Hall.
Oh, yeah, it felt great. First and foremost for me, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me the opportunity to be here. But having the opportunity to come back, knowing that wasn't the last moment, was something very special, especially for our team. That loss really stung, especially against the team up north. But we did what we had to do in training. We worked hard. We came here. We fought. And we got it done at the end of the day.
All right, Drake, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you in Lincoln.
Of course, thank you very much. See you there. Go Bucks!
All right, that's going to wrap it up from Penn State, where Ohio State does get the win as they get ready for the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships. Meanwhile, coming up right here on the Big Ten Network, it's Big Ten Softball, UCLA and Rutgers. For Brandon Burns, I'm Dean Linke saying so long from Happy Valley.